Now, honestly, it's not even my fault that Ted died either. It's the game's fault. Like, legitimately, it's the game's fault. I put in the maximum number of units in there, and I didn't have enough CP to move every single. Like that's bullcrap right there. But we live with it anyways. Valkyria Chronicles 1 conquered. Can you believe it? Legitimately, I'm actually kind of surprised that I got to the end of this game. When I hit that point where I said, I don't think like there's a 30% chance of me not continuing this game, I was probably actually around like 60 to 70%. Like I was very salty, but here we are. I didn't write down my thoughts for this game, which unfortunately kind of works against me right now, because this is where I think it would have done some justice to actually talk about this game in more details. But maybe I can just bring up my little template and just code. So, let's see. Overall thoughts. I'm actually not a fan of this game in a great many ways. I think the story is so piecemeal and broken and delivered in such a poor way. I think the gameplay just has, like, for all its unique take or different take on how it's approaching the tactics game, I think it employs too many frustrating mechanics. I think the characters, they have some redeeming qualities to them, and some of them are actually kind of nice, but the character development is so tiny. When characters like Isara dies, it's like, she's dead, great. When characters like the princess reveal that she's a dark side, it's like, great. When the princess gets kidnapped, it's like, okay, it's really not enough for me. And I've mentioned this several times throughout this, but this game is a JRPG, a capital JRPG. It is by far the most JRPG game I believe I have ever played. Maybe with the exception of Luminous Arc 1. But that one was more like anime JRPG. This game is just really JRPG. It does the stuff that I just kind of roll my eyes with. Like they introduced Valkyria powers in the game, and that's totally fine. It's a war story, but you got this different dynamic, like powers and things like that can be done really, really well. But it's not leveraged in a way that you would think it would be leveraged. If one side, if you have a war and one side sneak attacks, like the evil guys sneak attack the good guys, and the evil guys have superior technology, they have more soldiers, they have better weapons, ? You would peg them to be the heavy favorites. And then you give them we'll just say a sorceress who can't die and can kill people at a whim. They no longer become the heavy favorites. They become the victors. There's no way that you can stop them. Home Chick Slice just needs to go through the battlefield. Now, granted, Galia is a big country, but all you have to do is hit the strategic points with your Valkyria, Yeah. So the fact that this game progresses and you only ever see or hear of Silvaria like 3 times makes no sense to me. This nation should have been crushed in like 4 days. Maybe a little bit more than 4 days, for travel time and things like that. But maybe like four missions, 4 strategic locations. It doesn't make any sense. And then, they don't kill anybody. Baldio showing up at the end and like, I cut the power. Like, I shot those things like 20 times. How did that not cut the power? And then instead of shooting Maximilian in the head, he's like, nah, I'm gonna suicide myself and kill Maximilian in the process. It's so silly. It's so JRPG. It's actually ridiculous. The things that they do in this game. And that's disregarding, but not even disregarding. That's not even mentioning that we have a Valkyria of our own. And we can turn the tides of battle. But instead of utilizing this great power that we have, that the enemy no longer has, which, by the way, the enemy lost that power very soon. We say, no, using the Valkyria powers is not how we win the war. We need to believe in ourselves, believe in the power of friendship, and that is what's going to win this war. It's so over the top, so ridiculous, so overblown. The story is just it's not for me. Honestly, I want to say that the story is awful. It doesn't elaborate enough. It's not cohesive enough. It's not interesting enough. The characters don't really do anything. It's not like realistic enough.
Gotta take us bug hunting again soon, okay?
You bet. I think you're ready for my top secret hunting spot.
Yippee! Thank you! We'll see you tomorrow!
Yep. Go right along home now.
Welcome, Gunther. After the war, he returned to his studies. Many had thought the Gallian hero would rise to further fame, but Welkin had something else in mind. He returned to Brule, there to realize his long-held dream of becoming a teacher. On weekends, he's often seen taking his students out on nature hikes. His is a peaceful civilian life, and he would have it no other way.
Thank you for choosing Alicia's.
Hey, honey. How's business today?
Hey! Hey, you. What a surprise. Guess what? So I started selling the smoked cheese bread today, and everybody loves it.
Of course. Told you that bread was great. Guess everyone in town agrees with me.
Yeah.
Alicia Gunther. Trading in her rifle for a rolling pin, Alicia trained around the clock to pursue her dream. After many long months, she received her national certification as baker. On the same day, she married her sweetheart, Welkin Gunther. Together, the two opened Alicia's Bakery. It didn't take long for word to spread about her delicious creations. And now, even visitors from far away make a point of stopping to sample her fresh-baked bread.
How about you? How are your classes today?
Those kids never seem to run out of questions. They're amazing. Their curiosity's endless.
That's so. Then you're a kid too. You're as incurably curious as any one of them.
Speaking of kids, how's Isara been today?
Hank?
Papa!
Hey there! Have you been a good girl?
Yep, I was real good. I was just helping Mama make some bread. I needed the dough all by myself.
Oh, I wish you could have tasted the bread that dough made. Our customer said it was the best ever.
Hey! Hisara, that's really great! All right, you show me how and I'll help, okay?
Yay! Come on, Papa, I'll teach you.
The same voice actor as well. The fact that you ain't like mentioned that and predicted that with pinpoint accuracy, lovely bibliophile, is concerning. Okay, let me. They mentioned that she was baking for a couple of months. So there's a possibility that she didn't get pregnant in the cabin. There's a chance. There's a chance. All right, but back to the story of the game. Yeah, I kind of hate the story. I find no redeeming qualities to the story. And yeah, there's that. Gameplay wise, I do think it's interesting that there is a like a third person aspect to the game. And I like how they treat the weapons. I like how they treat the tanks and things like that. I like how they approach the upgrades for the most part. What I don't necessarily like is that I don't feel like each class is as specialized as they could be. Scouts, if scouts didn't have their grenade launchers, I think they would be more tame. But because they have the grenade launchers, they're pretty much better than shock troopers. There's not very many scenarios where shock troopers are better, but yeah. The thing that definitely, and I mentioned this before, the thing that really is the deal breaker for me on the gameplay is being attacked while you're controlling the character. It's just too punishing. There's been characters taking unnecessary damage. There's been characters dying. There's just been a lot of scenarios where I think to myself, why is it that this is the way it is? There's no way to view the map or the world that you're in, and so it's strange to me that you can't, as a video game, like a player playing a video game, you cannot observe the world around you when it is the most opportune moment to do so, which is maybe not necessarily moving the character. If you want to attack me while I'm moving my character, that's totally fair. But if I stop moving and I want to look around, take in my surroundings, I should be able to do that and not just have my character die. It was probably the biggest thing, just regarding the story, probably the biggest thing that really made me kind of dislike the gameplay. I had to position or use certain units in certain ways to try and navigate around that issue, and it didn't always work. But for the most part, it mostly just ended up being, okay, let me get in this tank and look around, see what I'm doing, see what I want to do, without having the worry of my character dying. Let me see. Honestly, I think that's probably all that I got. I think the gameplay is overall solid. That one thing that I talked about, like, that is a super big detriment. But I was able to navigate around it, kind of work with what I was given now that I understood the rule. I will say that pretty much every boss fight in this game was bullcrap. And boss fights generally tend to be bullcrap, but like the final boss in particular was bullcrap. The Lance fight in particular was kind of bullcrap. There was a mission somewhat recently where there was like infinite reinforcements. That was bullcrap. Yeah. And then, you know, I didn't even mention either. I mentioned it several times while playing it, but I still really wish that this game took a more realistic tone with how it was approaching war, whatnot. It definitely went off the rails with the JRPG style, or whatever you want to call it. And I would have found this game so much more interesting if we were dealing with the nitty-gritty of war and making tough decisions. You know, dealing with the loss of characters by being forced to move on. There's so many scenarios in this game where something important happens and then the characters take like time off to address it. And it's like, this doesn't make any sense. How can you have a funeral for Isara when you're at war? There's no time for that. You know, you gotta march on to your next spot to, you know, end this war. Characters taking time to develop an airplane, you know, like, who has time for that? Isara, like, maybe I can understand that. She said she was doing it on her days off or whatever. So sure. But like everybody else working on it, and I'm not on board. Anyways, I think I will end this thoughts with this. I wasn't sure what exactly I should have expected when going into this game, and I did remember like very minor things, like it was a third-person game from when I played it back in like 2010 or whatever it was, and I didn't remember why I stopped playing. And I don't think the reasons that I stopped playing then have anything to do with why I don't like the game today. But I will say that this game, for me, I felt like it had the right idea and, you know, the potential. And it just evolved into nothing, unfortunately. There's a lot of people out there that like this game, and I wonder what aspects they like of it. My niece is one of them. I'm probably gonna message him. Like, tell me what you like about Valkyria Chronicles. Why is it one of your favorite games? Because I'm actually legitimately curious what people like about the game. Because when I look at it, I'm like, the story is atrocious. Gameplay is, is solid, as its huge detriments in my eyes. But with some changes, I can see the gameplay carrying the game. And maybe with a more serious tone, I can start getting on board with the story. So in actuality, it doesn't take much to get me to like this game. But because of the direction it went, it just was a really steep decline. It dug its own grave, I suppose. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for me for today. This was a 5-hour stream. It's been a long time, those missions. Thankfully, well, it wasn't that one day. It's playing that one game. I don't see anybody stream, so I'm gonna send people into the world. Thanks for watching, appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. Pacific, to play something. I'll have to figure that out. I'm out. Peace.